back to Desertwood Days, and I am here with Mr. Ted Tanaka. Welcome.
Thanks. It's nice to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. So, what's been going on, Ted?
Just a lot of things have been happening lately. I've been just working on a lot of other films lately. Um, been just working my butt off every day. I
Awesome.
have four jobs.
Is that all in the film
No,
industry?
actually, to help with the film industry, I actually have to, and to be able to be part of the film industry, I actually have day jobs that I have to work to be able to make enough money to go and film
Oh,
and finance my short films and everything like that.
awesome, awesome. Have to be able to finance it some way, huh?
Right, exactly. It's very hard to try to find like financing here in Arizona. It's been a struggle. Not a lot of investors are out here, so kind of have to do the whole uh, like fundraising
Mm-hmm.
or just raising the funds yourself to be able to finance your films. So that's what I've been
Right.
doing. I've been financing my films.
Right. So have with the financing of your films, have you completed your goals when you're trying? Are you doing like crowdfunding?
Yeah, so I did crowdfunding for my short film Her Monster,
Oh,
and we were able to raise up to I believe $10,000 to
wow.
be able to get it up and running and going. And so we're actually almost done with that. And
That's great.
yeah,
So with something like that, what do you do? I mean, do people just want to throw out some money, or what do you do to show them that, hey, this is an awesome film?
so a lot of the crowdfunding portion of trying to put your film out there is you really got to be able to put down a good synopsis or
Mhm.
the story of what that movie is, the reasons why, uh, you know, sending money and donating money to the film fund to be able to try to make this movie a reality is
Right,
you got to entice the people to show the reasons, the passion, the
right,
who's in it, uh, why you're wanting to make this film, what does this film represent to you, and how can it represent the individuals who watch it.
right.
And also, what's nice is that there's also these things called incentives that you
Mm,
can also do with these film
yes.
funds. Shirts,
Uh-huh.
copies of the movie, getting your name in the movie as a
Right.
credit, an IMDb credit, stuff like that. So
So those things truly entice people.
yeah, I've noticed that certain things like that do entice individuals
Mm,
to um, donate and help out,
that's
and some people don't
awesome.
even want the extra stuff. They just want to help out with the movie.
Right, right. And are these predominantly people in the film industry?
No, actually, 90% of the people that donate are not part of the film industry.
Wow, that's
They're just everyday
awesome.
people.
You know what? To be able to raise money like that to
Yeah.
create your something you're passionate about. That's wonderful. So you create this crowdfunding platform, then you start working on your movie, Her Monster.
Hmm.
What's your next steps after that? Do you start doing your casting before you do your after you got the crowdfunding going, or do you do it before? How does that work?
So what I do, and I'm a big stickler. My one thing that I love to do, and before I do any type of film, is pre-production.
Okay.
Pre-production consists of storyboarding, um, going down through your script, making
Mm-hmm.
sure everything is correct. You got to do your shot listing. You got to find out if you have your equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't start casting until all those things are done.
Okay.
Once all those things are done and we're able to solidify our shots, we solidify our equipment,
Mm-hmm.
we solidify our crew, and then we solidify location, then I go in and start casting.
Okay.
And Her Monster is probably the hardest one to cast that I've ever had to cast for.
Really?
Um, because I mean, I wrote the film, and because I wrote it, I had a vision of who I wanted, like
Who you
who
want
they who the
to?
people are going to
Right.
represent these characters. And it was really hard. I had a lot of people input on who they like, what people wanted in the roles, and having to do casting calls and
Mm-hmm.
auditions and stuff like that. And the little girl Sarah, the actress Helen, she stood out out of all of them on the way she did her audition. Sorry, her audition. And so I was blown away by her abilities, and for her being only like, I think she was like 11,
Really?
and I was just like, I have to have her. So I was just like, I called my producer, and my producer is Gabby Barbosa, and I was
Uh-huh.
just like, Gabby, I need her, get her on, let's do this. So we were able to get her, and then Gabby actually starred in the film as the mother.
Okay. May I ask, what was it about this young lady that stood out the most?
Her emotions, the way she represented the character, and the way she presented herself, with the emotions, because it's a very intense film,
Right.
and you got to really show the emotion of what's happening in the film.
Mm.
And she, in her audition, she did absolutely amazing. It blew me away, made me cry. I was
Oh.
just like, wow, this is good.
And that's awesome. It's your movie. You needed to see those things. You
Yeah,
didn't need someone else casting that for you. You needed to be there to see that.
yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. And at 11 years old, it's just amazing. I love the kid talent because they're so
yeah.
true and so authentic with themselves.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, I mean, there's a lot of child actors out here,
Mm-hmm.
that I've noticed, but yeah, just with her doing that audition, I was, and seeing all the other auditions, not saying all of them didn't do well. Like, they
Right.
were they were all good. It was hard, but overall, I was more blown away by Helen's performance than most of the others, because with her seeing that in the film, where it's a really touching moment,
Mm.
she really made me like feel that scene, and I was like, yes, that's what I'm wanting. That's what I want to feel when I see that scene.
Right. So, what was it that got you initially inspired into doing what you're doing?
What inspired me to get into filmmaking?
Mm.
Um, well, what actually got me into the industry itself was actually my buddy Gus Matos. He actually called me up one day. He's part of a charity nonprofit that does cosplay and stuff like that. So I
Okay.
dress up like Aquaman for
Mm.
them. And he's just like, "Hey man, I'm doing this short film. Are you want? Would you be interested in being in it?" And I was just like, "Sure, why not? Let's do it." Okay. And he's like, "Yeah, you'll just be an extra. You're gonna be a wounded thug." And I was like, all right, cool. And so we did this little short film, and I was just, it like, it was so fun. I've never been in a movie before. It was the first time I've ever been on a film. And just the feel of just being on camera, and then acting, and then doing the scenes. And then I was able to give input in my scene on what I should do, because
Mm.
it was a student film. So the guy didn't really know what he wanted. So I was just like, hey, maybe I can do this, or he can do that. And he's like, yeah, let's do that.
You were giving him some ideas.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so awesome.
You know what? That's why I hate the use of the word just. Okay, first off, we deplenish the meaning of the word background extra. I mean, like you went onto that set and you were actually an asset to them. So if you had went on there with the attitude, "Oh, I'm just an extra," and really
Yeah,
wasn't, and just didn't give those helpful tips, they would have missed out on that.
right,
So I really hate the word "just"
right.
because there's such a benefit. We couldn't do some of the things that we do without them. So
Exactly, yeah. Because like in her monster, I needed a ton of extras,
mm,
and they were insurmountable to making the scene happen.
right.
Um, but what actually really got me into what I actually do now is cinematography.
Okay.
The one person that really got me hooked, really, because I always thought, hey, I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be on film. I'm going to be in front of the camera. And then I was just like, well, I'm not really getting any roles right now. So um, I actually met this guy, Lyle Dilly, and
Mm,
he actually got me on a film as an extra,
mm.
and it just went from there. And then all of a sudden, he was just like, "Hey, does anybody want to learn how to do camera for this film?" And I was just like, "You know what? Sure, I want to learn." And then he got me on a feature film, Phoenix, Arizona, and
Okay. What was your character in that?
I wasn't a character actually. I was
Oh,
the camera guy.
you're the camera guy.
Yeah, he offered
Okay.
me a role to help him out doing camera, and I was
Okay.
just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, you're gonna have to show me everything, and he showed me absolutely everything, and that everything he knows. And I was just like, wow, like this is really fun. I'm really liking this. Like, I've never touched a camera before, and this is
Wow.
really awesome. So I'm just like, maybe this is something I want to do, like my
Mm.
passion. I mean, I've had hobbies. I have ADD, so I've had insurmountable amount of hobbies. You know, you pick up one, then you let it go
Right.
and grab another. So this one, I was just like, well, okay, I'm gonna do this. It's a hobby. I'll move on to the next one. But I was, as I was kept doing it, kept filming, and kept doing, I was just like, this is not the same. It's always different. There's something happening that's different on every film, every set, every
Right.
day, and I just it intrigued me to the point where I was just like, I want to keep doing this. This is really fun. And so I actually went to school at Full Sail University and got my graduate certificate in film and video through Full Sail. And now I do cinematography on the side.
Congratulations.
I'm trying to make it into a full time gig.
Yes, congratulations. So now that you're doing the cinematography, are you still also going to be a storyteller, doing your own film as well?
Yes, I have 4 feature films that I'm currently writing right now. I have a couple shorts. I have an experimental film that my friend Ashlyn,
Uh-huh.
he got me intrigued. We did he had me as a cinematographer for his short film Chemical Burden,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never done an experimental film before, and so it was really new to me. So he just said, "Go wild, let's see what you got," and I was just like, "You sure?" And he's like, "Yeah." So we went wild and we shot Chemical Burden, and we just went all out with the shots, and
That's
it came
wonderful.
out amazing. And I watched it, I loved it, and I was just like, I'm loving this, and the way the story was told. So I started writing this experimental short film, and he's helping me write it too.
Okay.
And but yeah, I've been writing different genres, horror films. I have an action film. I have a suspense film that I'm
Okay.
writing, and then I have a like an action suspense film, Rituals of the Old Gods, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's a Norse mythology film about Loki coming back from the dead and trying to enact Ragnarok again.
Hmm.
So I'm writing that one, and I have another film called Black Dagger.
Okay.
It's a vigilante film, and so I have a lot of other films that I'm writing and everything like that. And I just love writing and doing
Right.
like creative,
Awesome.
like just creative writing and stuff like
Right.
that.
You had mentioned experimental films. Can you explain a little bit about what you mean by that?
So by experimental films, it's just not the everyday like uh, films that you see, the narrative films. It's adding different aspects to that type of film where it's not as narrative but more like emotional based or more music based,
Okay.
and it's not the typical movie that you would see.
Oh,
So with the one that I wrote, it's more it's a silent film, but it has a musical
okay.
base back to it.
Okay.
But it all revolves around this one person and his life before it ends.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you brought some media from what your last films?
Yeah, yeah, Her
Okay.
Monster.
Her monster. Let's see her monster.
Yeah, let's do.
Can you read me a story?
What's wrong?
I can't find him.
Mr. Turtle. So, do you want me to check for monsters in the closet? That's her. You're supposed to be the father! Sarah!
It's okay. The monster's in here.
Wow, that was something.
Right, yeah. So yeah, it's a very intense film.
Yes. Where did you go to create that story?
So honestly, it's from my own personal experience.
Mm.
And so I use some of my personal experience with a little bit of creativity on like, how I would have perceived of like if stuff was that happening that in
Mm.
my household, how I would want it to be stopped kind of thing.
Right.
But a lot of it was based my ex that I used to be with, me and her sat down and we talked about scary stories all the time.
Oh.
But I started coming up with this weird story about like, a little girl with a monster and stuff like that. And then she told me about this story that was on Reddit.
Mm.
And all of a sudden it was interesting because it was like almost similar to her monster. So I was just like, okay, yeah, I'll put a spin on that.
Uh-huh.
Let me put a spin on that and see how it works. So I spinned it. I did my own little thing, and then that's what you're seeing right there is my like. It wasn't as violent as in that story, but
Uh-huh.
mine's a little bit more violent.
Um,
So
do you find, I mean, you have a very unique look. Do you find that people want to have you in their films because of your unique look?
it has been hard lately because I have been typecasted.
Mm.
It happens, So I get typecasted as usually the bad guy,
Right.
or I get typecasted as like a thug, or about like just a big burly guy,
Mm.
with long hair. So
Does that bother you?
no, not at all.
No.
No, I mean it is what it is. But luckily, my passion is cinematography. My second passion is acting.
Oh.
So I mean, if I don't get roles, it is okay.
Mm.
I have cinematography that will always get me jobs.
So, do you play a good bad guy?
I think I should do pretty good as a bad guy. I mean, I haven't had any complaints in the movies.
I occasionally I'm hearing your accents come out. You may say you don't have an accent, but I'm hearing them. Do you utilize that when you're acting?
So yeah, before my voice used to be really high. It's because I have severe anxiety,
Oh,
and so I tend to be very high strung. And so I've been taking medication, and since taking the medication, my entire system has kind of like calmed down.
Oh.
And since it's calmed down, I've actually not as high strung anymore. So I kind of feel more relaxed, and I think my
Uh-huh.
vocal cords are more relaxed. So that way
Right.
it's this. But like before, I used to talk with a high pitched voice, and it didn't fit the face
Mm.
because the face is like it's a guy's face, so you need a
Right.
guy's voice.
Uh-huh.
So like when I talked, it was very high like this, and I'd be like, "Hi guys, how's it going?" And I would talk like this, and then it just didn't fit the face. So
Well, at least that's what people think. It
I
doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the
I've
face.
gotten people going, "Oh, that's your voice." Okay. So I mean, it's just like so in movies.
Right.
If you watch me in films, I usually like to deepen my voice because I cosplay as Jason Momoa's Aquaman.
Uh-huh.
So I do that for charity, and I also do it for Comic-Con and stuff like that. So I try to embody his character
Mm.
and his persona. And so to do that, I had to deepen my voice and be
Right.
able to do Jason Momoa's voice and be able to
Is
talk.
that easy for you to do?
I just trained myself.
Oh.
It was hard, but I'm able to like change my pitch range.
Uh-huh.
I can talk really high and I can talk really low. So I mean, it just depends. I mean, I've always been able to do it as a kid. So whenever I'm on film, if I have to do a bad guy's role, I talk in a really deep voice because it's meant to be a bad guy's mean bad
Uh-huh.
voice. But I've only done one film where I was actually the good
The good
guy,
guy.
the boyfriend. It was for this film called Glitch.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's like the only role that I had as like.
Did you enjoy that role?
Yeah, actually, it was really fun. It was actually with Gabby and Dylan. They're the co-owners of a production company that we run called E4 Mafia Films. When you saw on the trailer, E4 Mafia Films is our production company that we do.
So I know you have Her Monster. You've You've already completed it. Is in post production.
It's almost in post production.
Oh,
We have one more shot to do for the film. Our drone operator's drone crashed in his last film, so he's getting it repaired right now.
oh, okay.
So once that his drone gets repaired, we're gonna shoot the it's basically the intro to the entire film.
Oh,
So we got to do a drone shot of the intro of the neighborhood for the house, and so once we get that drone shot, then the movie's completely shot and it's completely
so
done.
what's your plans with the film once it's done?
So my plans for the film once it's done is what I'm gonna do is we first have to go and get it edited,
Uh-huh.
at least a rough edit. Then we have a voiceover artist who is
Oh.
going to be the voice of the monster. His
Oh.
name is Dustin Pruitt, and he's amazing. You want to talk about an amazing Venom voice? This guy, once you hear his voice in this movie, it is going to put the monster like up here.
Wow.
So I have to submit his scenes to go get the voiceover done for that. Then I have to send it to a sound engineer, get the sound
Okay.
done. Then I have to send it to a composer and then get the composing done. And then I also have to send it to a color grade artist to be able to get color graded. And then once all that's done,
Uh-huh.
then the movie's finished.
Oh.
And then we're going to actually try to release the film by like late July, or late January, early February. That's the time frame I'm trying to like release the film.
You have another film coming out soon, also, don't you?
Uh,
That's going to be at one of the festivals.
yeah. So the movie I was talking about earlier, Chemical Burden.
Okay.
So Chemical Burden, and also there's another movie I did called The Winner's Room.
Okay.
Those two short films I was DP on,
Okay.
and those films will actually be showing at the Night of Misfits
Uh-huh.
Film Festival
Okay.
here in Arizona. So
Okay. Awesome.
I believe it's at the end of the month.
Wonderful. So, Ted, where can our audience find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Ted Tanaka. You can find me on Instagram. I have 3 Instagrams. They're all different types, but they all show the same thing. It's just Ted Tanaka-san, Mr. Tojo cosplay, and then Phoenix Aquaman.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure having you here today.
Yes,
And-
thank you so much.
And we look forward to what's next with her monster.
Right, yeah, I'm
Thank-
super excited.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us today on Desertwood Days, and we will see you next time.